Hello again. I'm going to read Chapter 2 of Fandom Crisis, written by Asher Harmon, Mr. Bultitude. Okay, Chapter 2, things get complicated. Everyone get back in the TARDIS, ordered the doctor. He bounded towards the blue doors, his hoof on the handle when he heard Twilight's voice. Doctor, can I talk to you for a minute? She asked. The doctor turned around. What is it, Twilight? I need to. He was cut short when Twilight delivered a vicious haymaker into his jaw. He stumbled to the ground, sharp pain ripping through his face. What the hey, doctor? Twilight boomed in a near growl. Her breathing was heavy. She was practically foaming at the mouth. Derpy rushed to her husband. Doctor! It's okay, Derpy. We're all okay. Okay, my recording. Really, okay. It's okay, Derpy. We're all okay. Twilight, Nix. I'm so sorry. I didn't know this would happen. Please get back to the TARDIS, the doctor begged. Twilight looked into the doctor's eyes, and her anger began to turn into alarm. He was scared, very scared. She offered her hoof to the time pony that helped him off the ground. We good? He asked. No, but I apologize for hitting you, Twilight responded. She levitated Nix into her backpack and trotted into the blue box. Derpy examined the growing red welt that now adorned the doctor's face. Wow, it seems like some pony might be holding a bit of a grudge. What did you do to her? She asked. The doctor brushed the black dirt off his coat. I think it would be best for every pony if Twilight relieved that on her own time. Anyway, back to the ship, you two. He pointed to the door with his hoof. Dinky was flabbergasted. Wait, we're just leaving? Dad, you never want us to just leave. You always have to look around first, usually until some bad guy captures us. Hey, I've only let that happen thrice, and I never would have let you come if I knew it was dangerous. Yes, Dad, I know. Hey, don't get smart. Now in the ship. He once again pointed at the door. Dinky obeyed. Her father wasn't acting like himself, and that was never a good sign. Doctor, what's wrong? Derpy asked. The doctor furrowed his brow. I don't know. Nix. Nix buried her head in Twilight's fur. She whimpered softly as Twilight rocked her back and forth. Derpy and the doctor stepped into the ship. The doctor rushed into the control console and pulled a small computer monitor in front of him. It flickered to life as the doctor furiously mashed buttons and pulled levers. A set of coordinates and a date appeared on the screen. The doctor's ears fell. Oh, that's bad. That is seriously not very good. He ran his hoof through his mane. Twilight sparkled. A moment. Twilight looked down at her daughter. It'll be all right, okay? She got up and met the doctor at the control console. He whispered something in her ear. Okay, she said with a nod. Dinky came up to Nix and put her hoof on Nix's shoulder. Are you okay? Nix brushed away a remnant tear. Ugh. She took a deep, mucusy breath to try to regain her composure. It'll be fine. Please don't hate my dad or me for this. Sometimes this old junker goes wonky on us. It takes us places we don't want to go, Dinky explained, tapping her hoof on the glass floor. You guys were just trying to help, but please take me home now. Nix sulked. The doctor had been listening on the filly's conversation. Your wish is my command, Nix, he announced. He pranced wildly about the controls. He put his hoof on a big lever with the 8-ball knob on the end. I flipped the switch and vavoom! Oh, that was a close one. What is it, Doctor? The Derpy asked. Ooh. The Derpy asked. I need to set this location as an anchor point, the doctor explained. Anchor point? Sort of a link between this time zone and the TARDIS engines, in case we need to come back. Nix's breathing quickened. Why would we ever want to come back here? She asked, as fresh tears began to form. Oh, no, don't worry, Nix. It's just standard time travel procedure, something I do every time we're about to leave somewhere. Derpy frowned and cocked her head. Doctor, you've never... She was cut off when the doctor began to cough. Fuck you. Fuck you. Brayden. She cut off. The doctor began to cough sonorously. I hate words. Hack. Well, cough. Tahak. Win, cough, hack, nix, go, honey. He cleared his throat. Right. Sorry, I had a tickle. Now then, let's take you home. He flipped the 8-ball lever. Suddenly the ship began to shut up, Brayden. The ship began to shake terribly. Trails of steam erupted from the edges of the room. The lights dimmed and turned red. The shaking grew worse and worse. Dinky and Nix held onto each other for dear life. Oh no, not again, Dinky shouted. No pony knew how long the shaking went on for. It stopped just as suddenly as it began. Derpy's limbs felt like jelly, and she stumbled across the room. Everyone all right? Asked the doctor. He checked the monitor only to find the screen black. Honestly, I kind of want to do that again, Nix chimed. Twilight took a shaky step forward. I can read. I think I'm going to be sick. No sooner had the words left her mouth than she put a hoof to her mouth to plug the oncoming rush of stomach contents. The doctor reached into a compartment under the console and produced a small plastic bag. Here, he said, consider yourself lucky. On most worlds, equines don't have the ability to relieve their digestive systems in an emergency. Dad, what happened? That was the worse than this morning, Dinky said. The doctor pressed every button he could find, but the monitor refused to turn on. One of these days he is going to have to sit down and actually learn how these controls worked. Bah! The scanners died. Derpy, sweetie, see if we've landed. Derpy opened the doors. Sunlight flooded the dim room, causing her to squint. A cool breeze came through the entrance. It looks like we've made it back to Ponyville. Excellent, the doctor exclaimed. Now, Nix, pack your bags and go get our little dragon friend. What? Nix pondered. We're going to stay with Princess Celestia and Canterlot for a few days, Twilight answered. Why? Asked Nix. The doctor was just about to explain that to me. I need you to go to the library and pack. I have a feeling I might say some words to the doctor I don't want you to hear. Oh, and have Spike send a message to the princess telling her we're coming. Twilight reached down and gave her daughter a farewell hug and kiss. Nix found it hard to believe that just minutes ago she had been walking through her nightmares. Here was Ponyville, like it always was, with the wooden cottages and straw roofs, welcoming her back as if this morning had just been another dream. The sun was shining bright, its warmth felt great on her coat. The TARDIS had landed just a half a block away from Sugar Cube Corner, the local bakery. The library was just a 5-minute walk away. Dinky came running after her. Wait, let me come too. You sure? I'm just packing. Between helping you pack and having to listen to Dad drone on about neutron flow, this, and time vortex that, I'll go with option A. Besides, we've never really hung out before. Maybe this could be the start of a great friendship, or we might end up as mortal enemies. Let's find out, shall we? Well, that's one way to put that. The two made their way down the street. As they passed Sugar Cube Corner, Dinky happened to peek up at the window. A sign proudly displaying the words "Muffin Sale, all muffins 75% off" hung there. Oh wow, I know what I said about hanging out and friendship and stuff, but muffins, Dinky said, shifting nervously. Go ahead, but you and your mother have a serious addiction going on there, Nix called out. Dinky didn't hear her. She had already disappeared into the pink building. Nix grinned and continued on her way. There weren't many ponies out today, not usual for a Sunday afternoon. What was unusual was the fact that Nix didn't recognize any pony she saw. Some looked familiar, but when she saw a filly she thought she knew, it turned out to be a colt. This happened 3 times before she reached the library door. A small but steady growing sense of unease started chewing at the back of Nix's mind. She shook it off and stepped inside. Finally home. It felt so good to be back in the library. The fallen books and papers from this morning had been picked up. Spike must have cleaned the place. He had gotten out of bed. Once he had gotten out of bed, she tread quietly. When dragons are babies, they can take up to 5 naps a day, and Spike was most certainly not an exception. She didn't want to pack. She just wanted to draw a hot bath, then eat a big bowl of celery soup. She sighed and then made her way up the stairs to her room. She came to her door and stopped. Her drawing was gone. The crayon drawing of Spike, Twilight, and herself she had made when she first came to the library wasn't on her door. She burst through her room. All of her belongings were gone. Her bed had been replaced by a writing desk. Her toy chest had been replaced by a bookshelf. All of her pictures were gone, as were her books. A voice came from behind her. Excuse me, little filly. The library is closed today, and even if it wasn't, this area is private. Nyx whirled around. A baby dragon stood behind her. She looked like a copy of Spike, only the real difference was her eyes being slightly bigger and her skin was slightly a darker shade of purple. The little reptile's eyes widened in shock. Anarchy, she stammered. Nyx briefly wondered what this dragon had been against regular government. Then a conclusion clicked in Nyx's brain. Rage built in her belly and she gritted her teeth. Her eyes shone white with energy. Burglar, she roared. Raw magical power surged through her horn, and she brought her wings to full spread. You have 15 seconds to get out of my home. The dragon recoiled and then sprinted down the hall. Dusk, dusk, she called in a panic. Twilight was hot on her tail. Nyx was hot on her tail. Whoa. Now Nyx is very intelligent for her age, and she had been thinking properly. And had she been thinking properly, she might have stopped to wonder why a burglar would replace all their stolen items with different items. Unfortunately, Nyx was very tired and had a very rattling day, so she was not thinking properly. The doctor laid underneath the TARDIS control console, goggles over his eyes, and a metallic, cylindrical, very noisy device in his mouth, tinkering with a jumbled mess of wires. Alrighty, Doctor, I think it's time to start explaining what happened this morning. Why do Nyx and I have to stay with Celestia? Twilight demanded. The doctor spat out his sonic screwdriver. First off, what do you think happened this morning? I don't know, that's what I'm asking you for, Twilight bemoaned. Derpy put her hoof to her chin. If I had to guess, I'd say the TARDIS landed in the wrong time period again. Well, no shit. That's what I thought too until I checked the scanner. We arrived at exactly the point in time I intended us to go, barring 3 seconds, explained the doctor. He pulled himself from under the controls and sat up. We came to the right time, but everything about it was wrong. Something has changed the timeline and I didn't sense it. So what changed it? Derpy asked. The doctor took a deep breath and slowly exhaled as he ran his hoof through his mane. Again. I have absolutely no idea. I can see that the EBB and the flow of time, the past, present, and the possible futures. That's why I'm called a Time Lord, but something must have found some sort of blind spot in my vision, because the time stream was changed from right under my nose, and honestly, ladies, any force with that kind of power over the vortex frightens me a lot. Alrighty, scroll down a bit. Dinky sat slumped over a table. A sign on the bakery counter reading, "Out of muffin ingredients, back in 5 minutes," taunted her. She had counted the seconds she had been sitting there for 7 minutes, and not a sign of the owners, Mr. and Mrs. Cake, or their crazy assistant. She was about to give up and leave when she heard a crash from the kitchen. "Hello, is everything all right back there?" she called. A frizzy mess of pink fur stumbled through the swinging doors, a picture of 3 balloons on its hind quarters. Dinky was overjoyed to see the Cake's assistant. "Pinkie Pie, my good mare, would you please get me 2 blackberry muffin—" "Dinky!" Pinkie shouted ecstatically. "I'm super glad to finally find you." It was now that Dinky got a proper look at the mare. Her hair was covered in twigs and leaves, and she was wearing a strange metallic eye patch over her left eye, and she had a beaten-looking bracelet device on her forehead. Leg. And she was missing a tooth. "Here," Pinkie said, handing a small blue bag to Dinky. "You'll need this. Remember, the password is cherry chips, all caps, and the I is a Y." Hurry, Miss Pie, they'll be here soon, came a voice from behind Pinky's head. His accent reminded Dinky of her father's. Dinky looked around to see a white, brown spotted colt she had never met, duct taped to Pinky's back, his legs flailing in the air. Right. Bye bye, Dinky, Pinky said. She pressed a button on her bracelet and disappeared in a blue flash. Dinky stared at the spot where Pinky had just stood. She wasn't sure what she wanted to know what just happened. She jumped when another flash signaled Pinky's return. She had a very large mallet in her mouth, which she spat on the ground. Oh, and if you see either me again or Rainbow Dash, hit them with this. Don't think, just do, okay? Bye for real, she said again as she disappeared once more. Dinky needed to sit down. What just happened? What did any of that mean? And where are my muffins? Well then. Nix fired a bolt of white lightning from her horn, blasting at the little dragon's feet. She had the thief cornered now. All right, just put everything back the way you found it, and don't ever come here again, and I'll let you go scot-free. The dragon just stood there terrified. Dusk, shine, help, she shouted. Barb, what's wrong? Came a voice from behind Nix. She turned around. Nothing in all the world would prepare her for what she saw. There, standing in the doorway, was a young stallion who looked almost identical to Twilight Sparkle. His mane was much shorter, and his features were more masculine, but he had the same lavender coat, the same dark mane, and with a pink and purple stripe running through it, the same starry cutie mark, the same caring eyes, the same everything. Nix's mind went blank, refusing to process what her eyes were seeing. The stallion looked... Ooh, I dropped my mic. The stallion looked into Nix's dragon eyes, and his face contorted into a look of surprise, fear, and anger. Anarchy, Artemis? She asked in a shock. What? Nix managed to squeak. Help, Dusk, she's crazy. She called me a burglar and started shooting lightning at me, the baby dragon pleaded. All right, then I don't know who or what you are, but I will not let you break into my home and attack my friend, Duskshine snarled. What? Nix stammered. The stallion's horn glowed red. She fired a beam of concentrated magic and hit Nix right between the eyes. She felt herself slipping into an unconsciousness. He must have hit her with a sleep spell. Barb, send a message to Prince Solaris. Ooh. Maybe he can help sort this out. Nix heard the stallion say right before her world turned to blackness. All right, that should do it, Derpy. Hit the switch, the doctor said from under the console. This blue one, Derpy asked. She toggled the switch and looked up at the monitor. Still nothing. Blast. I hate wiring. Twilight paced nervously around the room. She tried to take a seat on one of the red seats around the console, but she couldn't stop her legs from bouncing. She had been trying to get the doctor to explain why she and Nix had to stay with Celestia for nearly 8 minutes now, but he kept changing the subject on her. Finally, she couldn't take it any longer. She magically dragged the doctor out from under the controls. Doctor, explain. What's all this have to do with Nix? Believe me, Twilight, that's what I'm trying to find out. He tried to return to his wiry mess, but Twilight pulled him back. Not good enough. Tell me everything now. Everything you know. Ooh. Well, then, where do I start? I guess the Big Bang, he chuckled. Twilight was not amused. The doctor's goofy grin disappeared and he became very grim. Okay, I'll be straight with you, Twilight. I don't know what's going on, but whatever it is means very bad news for your daughter. Tell me. The reason the time period we went to this morning was supposed to be Equestria's golden age is because Nix led it there. She'll go on to replace Princess Luna as the stewardess of the moon and co-ruler of Equestria. Oh, goodness. So, if that future was replaced by what we saw this morning, Nix could be in a lot of trouble. The doctor connected 2 wires together and the monitor screen flickered to life. You are telling me my little Nix is in danger and we just let her go out alone? Twilight asked, concern and anger rising in her voice. Well, yes, sorry, but I figured that Ponyville is okay. Whatever happens to change, the timeline hasn't happened yet, and I highly doubt this timeline could change with me in it and I not notice. The computer monitor began bleeping and flashing a mauve warning screen. The doctor checked the warning sign, the warning, and his ears dropped, unless, of course, we're not in our own timeline. Twilight was already out the door. She didn't understand most of what the doctor had just said, but if Nyx might be in trouble, she pitied anything that got in her way. Wait, Twilight. Derpy, we have to catch it. Doctor, I don't understand what's going on. Good, just hang on for the ride. And with that, they dashed out after Twilight. Twilight raced to the library. The tree was in sight now. Twilight slowed when she saw the royal the royal chariot with a full complement of guards outside her door. Why was Celestia at the here? A tall, white, regal alicorn stepped out from the library. But it wasn't Celestia. It was a stallion, clad in golden armor. His short, fiery red mane swirled magically in the air. He held a black, limp figure in his magic. Twilight gasped. He had Nyx. The strange stallion had her little girl. She gritted her teeth and stamped at the ground. He wasn't taking her without a fight. Now Twilight was a very powerful magician, able to temporarily transform objects into other objects at will, but alicorns can control the flow of whole solar systems. And this was going to suck. And Twilight knew it. She put all the energy in her body to her horn. She fired the most powerful and deadly spell she knew at the alicorn's head. The red bolt streaked down from the street, leaving a thunderclap in its wake. It hit the stallion in a shower of sparks. She was too far away to properly make out his face, but from what she could tell, he only seemed slightly annoyed. Her heart sank as she saw him fire a huge lightning bolt towards her, and she didn't feel anything. Derpy and the doctor arrived at the library just in time to see a chariot and a mess of ponies ascending into the sky. The doctor noticed Nyx and Twilight were being carried the guards. He cocked his head. He could have sworn he saw another Twilight riding in the chariot. Wait, Derpy called. They're too far gone. We need to find help. Maybe Twilight friends can help us. Right, if the elements bearers exist in this timeline, the doctor saw a shadow cross the corner of his eye. Derpy, do you ever feel like you're being watched? What is this? Already had fudge. Thank you. And that concludes chapter 2 of Fandom Crisis. I like this thing so far, and my mom just gave me fudge. I'm so happy now. Oh my god, it has. Ugh, it's so rich. Alright. What else do I have to say? I like this so far. It's very amusing. I like the Derpy and the doctor. It's adorable. Oh. Oh my god, this fudge is amazing. Okay, I'm gonna go eat this fudge. Okay, bye.